Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Small Town Music. Today, I will be discussing technology in the classroom and what I use and what has worked for me and what could possibly work for you, especially in a small town situation where maybe technology is kind of scarce or you just don't know a lot because it's weird trying to bring technology into a band classroom. Okay, so it will vary on what school you are, what the district is, how much money there is available. I know when I first got into my job, we had a projector and a movable projector screen, and that was it because the wall in my classroom moves. It opens up into the gym, which is kind of a unique, fun, super neat thing. Um, so they didn't even have like a smart board, which is, if you don't know what that is, it's a whiteboard essentially, but you can project on it and you can write on the projector and you can kind of do some really cool, neat things with it. But smart boards are now kind of the old tech. We now have ViewSonics and kind of a twist of fate. I was given a ViewSonic. Um, I was in a different location in a different room because we were doing school renovations. And then when I moved down to my current room slash old band room, then I was able to move my ViewSonic with me, which was really nice. I don't know if they would have given me one because it would have been the same argument as a smartboard. But anyway, my my goal here with saying all that is fight for the technology that everyone else has. If everyone else has a ViewSonic or a smartboard or even a basic projector or even a whiteboard and you don't even have a whiteboard in your classroom, fight for it. Try to be the squeaky wheel that gets the grease, to get those things that you need for your classroom because you need them for your classroom. Just because you're the band teacher and you don't use them the same as the math or English or whatever teacher, you're still important and you're still a real teacher. So fight for it. I do my daily slideshows, videos, all that stuff on the ViewSonic. I it has a whiteboard function so I can write out rhythms and do stuff. I really don't use a whiteboard or a chalkboard. I use the ViewSonic as my whiteboard and chalkboard. Um, it's so helpful. I know with mine you can like cast onto it. I don't do that because I use so many videos, especially in my elementary classes. So I want to be able to watch the videos without it buffering and doing weird things. With a music class, you need to have a good sound system. You're going to be listening to music. You're going to be watching videos and doing all that stuff. So fight for a good sound system. If that's kind of a crazy speaker system, um, even a Bluetooth speaker system to start with something, and then work your way up. Again, fight for it. You have to have this. This is your job. This is how you are a good music teacher. So fight for it. I do have a Bluetooth adapter. It was like 20 bucks 9 years ago. Um, and that has been life saving. It's been great. I haven't had to replace it so far. It can connect to my school computer, it connects to my phone, it connects whatever I need it to. But it connects to my really nice speaker system instead of using like the ViewSonic speakers, which are fine, but in a music classroom, and my classroom is big, it's a really big room, so I need a lot more sound. Recording mics are really great. Try to find the money in your budget to get some decent microphones that can record and play back your ensemble. I'm able to plug my computer into my speakers and record through Logic, which is what I also use to record for our podcast. And it's really helpful. It takes a minute or two to set up once you know what you're doing. And then once you're hooked in, you can record and play it back, and it sounds like a professional recording. It doesn't sound like it's from your phone. That was really great during COVID times to be able to record and play and do videos and everything. Do try to find a sound guy that can help you out. I don't know about your college experience, but for me, I know I've kind of talked about this on our social medias, but we did not get a class in how to do sound. I had a really wonderful professor talk about adapters for your computer to to plug it into a projector system, to be able to like project things. And I didn't understand how helpful that actually was until I started teaching. And I was like, oh, I need an adapter for my computer because I use a Mac and Macs are finicky and do weird things. And then I went to a conference and this person like didn't quite know how to plug in their computer to project it because they didn't have the right stuff. And it's so like learn basic things like that. Like don't be the dumb teacher that can't plug in their computer and do stuff. And it's basic. It's like basic IT knowledge. Like you don't have to have a degree in IT or computer science, just the basic information. We are 1-to-1 in our school, so that means each student gets a device, K through 12, I believe. So I do assignments on Google Classroom, especially for e-learning. That's how we do Google Meets. We do through Google Classroom. I Gmail, I really like it. I like the Google Suite for education. There's a lot that I can do with it, and I could share documents easily across the board. I use Canva like exclusively. I've talked about it a lot. Canva for me is so great. There's just so much that I don't have to worry about it because there are a ton of pre-made templates. I have printed things off of Canva and they are super easy to print off and they look super nice and it's shipped directly to school. Um, you can assign assignments from Canva and it's super easy. I know Laura does that a lot with her students. I have done it once or twice and kids are kind of weird about new things because they like, kind of freak out and they're like, well, I don't know how to do this. I'm like, can you try? Can you press some buttons and maybe try it? You never know. Google Classroom has a lot of things that you can do with it too. I really like one of the newer features is that if you assign a YouTube video for kids to watch, you can have questions pop up throughout the video, which is really, really great for when you're doing like I do listening journals sometimes if I'm out or if we have an e-learning day and kids are able to easily pull that up, watch it, go through the questions, especially if they're at school, then there's kind of no excuse to answer the questions. You can pre-schedule assignments for kids, for when you might be out or like if they call school off the night before, um, then you can start assigning assignments and doing all that stuff. And then you don't have to worry about it at 7 in the morning or whatever. Some apps that I use for the classroom, Tonal Energy is a big one. If you don't know, it's a tuning and metronome app. For me, I do the tuning mainly. It also has a drone sound, which I really like to tune my students with a drone. I do use my Harmony Director, which I will talk about that um, in a minute, but it's really great. I do Logic Pro a lot, or even GarageBand, so I can record, but I can also just like create a backing track and do looped backing tracks on those um, two programs, and then we do like warm-ups, or right now with my fourth graders on Recorder, we're doing like recorder improvisation. And so I have like a little backing track, so it helps them so it's not just super awkward, but it is also nice because like the kids create their own music. I put the beats all together. You can change the key, change the tempo, do all kinds of really cool things, and it's really fun. There's a online spinning wheel. It's not really an app, it's kind of a website. But it just makes decision making more fun. So for deciding on what activity to do, or if we want to decide on a scale, or um, I do like in elementary music, we're doing naming the instruments and figuring out the instruments. So I kind of use the spinny wheel to like tell me what instrument I should play, things like that. And it's fun. The kids can like touch it and make the wheel spin, and then it puts the decision making off of you. For band class, even for elementary music too, my harmony director is the number one piece of technology I use every day, all day. I use it for tuning. I use it to play melodies for different instruments. I use it for metronome. I use it constantly, especially in band class. Like I don't think I can teach band class without a harmony director. I've talked about Canva. The daily slideshows are what I use. There's timers even in the slideshows that are really helpful and useful that I use. Um, you can make stickers. I made some really fun stickers. I made brochures for beginning band to hand out to their parents. You can make t-shirts. You can make wrapping paper, super fun wrapping paper, mugs, sweatshirts, whatever you want. I do like a flyer, and so I can add like whatever images I want. I've tried the docs, but it's like that's a little more constrictive. But the flyers, I add a heading at the top of my flyer, and it's the Bloomfield, the band logo, and then I I put like opera field trip form or like um at band schedule or whatever at the top. So then that kind of sets out my papers. It sets it apart from everyone else's. So parents are going through all the papers from their kids and they can kind of tell like, okay, this is for band. Like this is not this is what I need. I just love Canva. It's great. If you need any of my handouts that I've done, I'm happy to share. Just email us, smalltownmusicpodcast@gmail.com. Just I am not fantastic with technology. I think I'm better than some people, but I'm not as great as I could be. But these are the things that I've found useful and helpful for me. I've tried like Class Dojo or Idakio or things like that, and I think it can be great, but it's just one more thing I have to remember in the middle of class. And if you don't know Class Dojo and Idakio, that can be like classroom incentive and rewards kind of thing, where at least Class Dojo, it's like each kid is represented, and if Johnny does something good, you press the plus button and it makes a fun sound, and then the kids know that like they got points. But if Johnny did something bad, then you press the minus button and it makes a sad sound, and then the kids know that like their points are getting taken away. And I know like elementary teachers do that, or they do clips or snips or whatever, which is great. And I know for a lot of teachers it's worked for a lot of different ways. I find it so hard to keep track of those things because number one, there's so much going on in my classroom because I don't sit down and just like let the kids work, especially in elementary music. I see them once a week and we do a full lesson pretty much all the time. So I find that to be really frustrating because I would never do it well and it would take me away from from class time, and it would take time away. I do have I try to write kids' names down and I try to just mentally keep track. I feel very fortunate that I don't have a lot of kids that I have to write up on a daily basis or even a weekly basis, but they like if I have to call a kid out more than twice in a class period, then something's wrong. And either I need to have a conversation with that kid, or I need to talk to their teacher about like what's going on. Why is this kid acting like this? You can tell pretty early in the year which kid that's going to be. My point being, with the technology, just find something simple that works for you, and you don't have to have all of the most fancy crazy intense technology today, especially if you're just starting out, or even if you're not just starting out, but if you want to incorporate more technology. Remember, technology is expensive, and sometimes less is more. And your kids join band not because you have iPads and marching band, but because they want to make music and they potentially want to learn a new skill, and probably because their friends are in band and band is fun and music is fun. So this is kind of a slightly shorter episode because I keep my technology as simple as I can. I don't try to overdo it because I feel like it can kind of take over your class if you're not careful. So good luck. Let us know if you have any questions, any topics. We're going to be doing a What I Didn't Learn in College episode soon. So, if you have topics that you're like, please talk about this. I did not learn anything about XYZ and I am drowning. I would love to talk about it. Or if you did kind of learn about it in college, but it's just very different than you thought it was going to be, because real life teaching is not teaching college kids in college. So email us smalltownmusicpodcast@gmail.com. Find us on YouTube, Smalltown Music 21, Apple Podcast, Spotify Podcast, PodBean, TikTok, Smalltown Music Podcast, Instagram, small.townmusic. I hope we hear from you. See you later.